welcome back to another episode of the Sistah Talk podcast. I'm your host, Gold Chain Diva. And I'm just a sister with a lot to talk about. And y'all know from week to week, I got more and more to talk about. Now, before I jump into the episode today, I'm going to give y'all fair warning and let y'all know if it's up, then it's up, then it's up, then it's stuck, okay? Your sister has an attitude this week, okay? I got an attitude. There's a lot of things going on this week that got me in a tizzy, okay? Listen, if you let them shenan once, they going shenan again, okay? There's a whole bunch of shenanigans going on this week. So your sister got a little bit of an attitude problem. I'm going to try not to put my foot so far on y'all next this week. But I got some things I need to get off of my chest. Now, how has your sister been doing this week? I have been doing amazingly, okay? You know, the weather hasn't been 105, 107 how it has been. You know, we got a couple of cooler days this week. So your sister has been enjoying, you know, having those cooler days where it's not hot as hell outside, okay? I've also been very busy, you know, working on my film, working on a couple other films, just working on a lot of different projects. So your sister has been, you know, just a little burned out. Haven't been getting as much sleep as I should be getting. However, I keep reminding myself that this is what I prayed for and that the Lord is going to continue to sustain me and give me the energy I need to continue to do the things that I love. And I'm not going to complain. Listen, a lot of times we pray for things and when God delivers on them, we realize we weren't ready for them and we like to complain about it. Well, your sister is focusing really hard on not complaining about what's on my table at the moment. Right now, I'm just focusing on getting everything that I need to get, being where I need to be, and being the person I need to be. So your sister has been doing great. Hopefully you all have been doing an amazing, having an amazing week as well. And I hope that y'all enjoyed that last episode with our sister, Miss Beatty. She made an appearance. I hope you all, you know, told her that you missed her and sent her love and well wishes on her journey and all those good things. And I hope that y'all enjoyed that episode and saw that your sisters have not missed no type of beat, okay? We haven't missed a beat. So, it's time. No. You know what? Before I spill the tea, I'm going to start this episode. Listen, we on the road to 200 followers, okay? Listen, thank you all for those who saw the message on my Instagram and said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and give my sister a follow and click that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. But for those of you tuning in right now to this video, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please hit subscribe and turn on your notifications and help me get to 200 followers, y'all. Please, listen, help your sister. Now, it's time to spill the tea. Get your pinkies up for this one. Now get your pinkies up for this one. Okay. So the first thing I want to spill the tea about this week, right? Now, amongst all other things, most of the things that I find on TikTok is just popping. That's where everything goes. It's a catch-all. Whatever community you looking to be a part of, they got something for you. Now, somehow, okay, I'm a millennial. Somehow I ended up on the Gen Z side of TikTok and learned a little bit more about this slang that they got going on, okay? Now, last season, I believe, we talked a little bit about the mewing, where the kids is running around doing like this, and y'all don't know what they talking about. And we told y'all what mewing was. Mewing is basically, basically they telling people that they need to get their jaw lines together, okay? To further elaborate on it, it's basically saying, look, chisel your chin, because you looking a little double chinish down there, okay? So the kids, they've been doing that. We told y'all about that last season. But it has come to my attention that there's a lot more things that y'all may not know about. So I'm ready to put y'all D to the game, okay? About to put y'all D to some of this Gen Z slang. Now, when I was looking at this list, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I feel like I keep showing my age over and over and over again because I know that when we were children, we did certain things, right? And I know that we had our certain slang. But for the life of me, I just feel like this slang that they got these days doesn't make any sense to me. At this point, I don't even know why I try to make it make any sense, to be honest. But they got some words, okay? And as much as it doesn't make sense to me, it makes sense to them. And it probably don't make sense to y'all either. But I wanted to put y'all D to the stuff that y'all kids is talking about. So when they start talking this slang, y'all know what's going on. Now, the first word that the kids is talking about these days is sigma. Okay? Now, sigma obviously is a Greek alphabet, is a Greek letter. And this one confused me because of what it means. Basically, it means if your child is saying you're sigma, they giving you a compliment. They telling you you're the cool mom. You know, you're the best of the best. Now, obviously, you would think that alpha would be the best, but whatever. Then, of course, I know, some of the old heads, y'all been saying Riz. Y'all know what Riz is. But what I didn't know is that Riz is actually short for charisma. Look, charisma. Who would have thought? But anyway, Riz is basically saying that you're a smooth talker. You got the juice. You got the sauce. You know, you could pull somebody. That's what Riz is. Now, Rizzlers is basically saying, okay, we got a group of y'all smooth talkers, okay? You know, y'all the best of the best. Y'all can run with the best of them. Now, this one it just threw me off. So apparently they tell people that they're Ohio. Like, why are you being so Ohio? Like, are you from Ohio? And basically telling somebody that is derogatory because basically they're saying you're weird and you're dumb. And then, so this one right here is where I went down this huge rabbit hole. It's called, now the kids are saying skibbity. Now, I don't know if any of y'all heard y'all kids saying skibbity, right? But I'm about to put y'all D to what skibbity is and where it came from. Now, skibbity, nobody really knows what skibbity is. Like, skibbity can mean so many things. Like, like if you use it in the senses, it could be like, with the skibbity. Like, and basically saying like, what the hell? Or like, basically alluding to something being weird. But nobody really knows what skibbity means. But I'm going to tell you where it came from because this like just blew my mind and it really made me realize, sis, you getting a little old because this type of stuff, I mean, I guess when we were younger, we would have been thoroughly entertained by this as well. But apparently skibbity came from Skibidi Toilet. Now, Skibidi Toilet is a series on YouTube that follows a fictional war between a human-headed toilets and humanoid characters with electronic devices for heads. So when I put a picture up here to show you what a Skibidi Toilet is, y'all probably gonna be like, what the heck? Because low key, I'm sitting here, listen, the reason why I want to put y'all D to this is because Skibidi Toilet is a little creepy to me. So I want y'all to know what y'all kids is looking at because like kids as young as 10 are using this slang and y'all probably have no idea what these kids are into on YouTube. So Skibidi Toilet is a singing toilet head, right? Now, the thing that got me about Skibidi Toilet was how popular it is, right? So Skibidi Toilet became popular back in 2023 and once it got posted onto YouTube. So basically, it has accumulated at this point 65 billion views on social media. And the hashtag alone has garnered 15.3 million views. Now that I'm reading this and I do see the name of oh no, never mind. It's just saying that this is as popular as Mr. Beast. I haven't watched it. It's several parts to it. I will say part 1, if you're very interested in figuring out what it is, take a look at part 1. It is a little catchy. It is a little corny, but that's what the kids is talking about. They out here basically telling people, that they skibbity. And I don't know if that's going to catch on. We'll see. Also on this list is mewing, and I just told you what that meant. And then the last popular term that the kids is using today is Chad Alpha. Like, what? So Chad Alpha is basically saying that you're the leader or the best person. So if somebody tells you that you're Chad Alpha, like they're basically saying like you that girl, like you that bull. So that's it for the Gen Z slang. Listen, I just want to put y'all D because new slang is coming out every day. So I want y'all to be able to communicate with y'all kids and them not call y'all some old heads. So there is that. Now, the next thing on the spill the tea for this week is Mischief. Now, Mischief has a new shoe coming out on July 30th. Now, a lot of you know Mischief most popularly for those space boots that they came out with, the red Astro boots, the big plastic cartoon looking boots. And then they later came out with another pair, I guess, that was partnered with Crocs that were yellow that had holes in them. But this time around, Mischief is pushing the envelope again with the fashion. As if you couldn't think that they could push it any further past those boots. They have a new shoe called the Flipped Flop. Okay. Now, like I said, the Flipped Flop drops on 7/30 and they're retailing at $450. Now, the reason why I want to talk about these flip flops is because, I mean, the name almost really alludes to what the shoe looks like and, you know, the whole base of how it was created. So basically, this Flipped Flop shoe from Mischief is inspired by a rubber slide. The flip flop molds the slide into a curved silhouette, which also marks the brand's first heel. It's simple in color. The debut flip flop appears in navy blue with contrasting hues of classic white that see the Mischief name. And it's called Performance Sport. But what's so interesting about this flip flop is double-sided design, which essentially crafts two pairs of slides with its continuous curve heel component. And I'm going to put a picture up there for y'all. Now, I know a lot of y'all said y'all wouldn't have worn those Astro boots, and I saw a lot of y'all with them. But would you wear these? I really don't want to see y'all in them. But if you can kill it and put a nice little fit together, tag me in the pic. I want to see it. I want to see how y'all put these together. But would you buy it? Let me know in the chat. Moving on. We just gonna move on. Okay, we start off a little light, but now we about to get into some of the crazier things that's been happening in the news this week. So the first thing that I want to talk about, and you all probably heard about the situation, because the situation is actually not extremely new. Okay, this situation actually happened at the beginning of this year, where a black woman in corporate for the company Eben New York was treated wrongfully. Now, it went around all around on TikTok, and I do remember seeing people talking about it, but I didn't really watch the video back then. But it was kind of like a situation where they're like, look, we got to boycott Eben because of what they doing to our sister. And I didn't ask no questions. I just kind of blindly followed it. I have not bought any more edge control. Now, I will say, you know, some people were throwing away the edge control and the products that they had in their home. My thing was they already made money off of it and I already spent my money. So therefore, I'm going to use this, but I just won't buy more. So that's what I did. I waited till it ran out. And then, you know, I just didn't buy anymore. So right now I'm actually on a prowl for a good edge control. So if anybody's aware of a good edge control, you know, it even more special if it's black owned, tag me. Let me know some good edge controls. But nonetheless, when I caught one of this back then, like I said, I just blindly followed it. I knew that it caused a ripple effect on TikTok where people were supporting this young lady and basically saying, look, we're not buying their products anymore. And so that's kind of just where I left it. But the reason why I want to talk about this today is because my best friend sent me this video. She sent me the video of the woman because she knows some of the things that I go through personally and some of the things that I'm passionate about. And she sent me this video this morning and I was like very much like riled up. I was ready. Listen, I wanted all the smoke. Like I woke up this morning and I was very much on 10, okay? Because once I watched this video, it really pissed me off in my soul. The video was basically of this young woman who got discriminated against by the Eben company. So basically what her story accounts is that she saw a ad on LinkedIn basically of the company posting that they needed someone to, you know, run their social media or whatever the case may be, do something in the capacity of marketing. She said she saw it. She said, look, I fit this role. I'm going to go ahead and shoot my shot. Sis shot her shot. They asked her to come in for an interview. She got the job. She says she goes in on her first day of work. Now, which, for those who don't know, Eben, they are a Korean-owned company. And so predominantly Korean, people work in the everyday work environment. And so she says she goes in on her first day. She says everybody's extra happy, everybody's extra friendly, everybody's, supporting her, trying to teach her, show her the ropes, get her acclimated. She said, everybody's speaking English to her. No problems, right? She said they give her her first task. She goes ahead and she posts a video on TikTok, and she says that she got permission and everything to do so. She says she post the video. She went home for the day, and she's sitting at home and she's watching, and the numbers are going. Okay, she said the numbers were going. And so seemingly, if everything is going well, what's the problem, right? Well, apparently she says she's sitting there watching these numbers go up and it's going extremely viral. And she said that eventually at some point in the night, the video completely disappears and somebody deletes it from the account. So she says she was confused about what happened. She said when she went in the next day, she asked them about it and they basically told her that it was because of too many negative comments on the video, whatever. But according to her, she said, I looked at the comments on the video and the comments were very much like, oh, this company must be black owned. Oh, they need to, pay this person more money. The person who's marketing this is a genius. Like basically highly praising her for doing the job that they hire her to do. And you would think, okay, good publicity for her is good publicity for us. Everybody wins, right? Nope. Basically, in true fashion, as it normally happens, as being the only black person in a corporate setting, they are intimidated by you. That's what I size up. I size up that they were intimidated by this young woman and they basically wanted to dull her light. And so literally what happens is she says she goes back the next day, and after everybody's so welcoming the day before and speaking in English and all these different things, she says she goes back the next day and now nobody can miraculously speak English anymore. Now everybody's just sitting around speaking in their native tongue. My thing is, she says, she goes in there. I mean, they're talking around her as if she's not there. Now we're in board meetings and literally, whereas before, they were speaking in English so that she can understand. Now they're just speaking straight up Korean, in their native tongue and not even considering the fact that she can't understand what's going on. And they're blatantly doing this on purpose. Now, my thing is this. Because sis said, she just sat there and really didn't know what was going on. Okay, technology. I'd have pulled out the Google Translate real quick. I would have stuck my little AirPod in. I would have said, oh, yeah, we're going to figure this out. We're going to figure this out today. I would have turned that Google Translate on real quick and would have figured it out. But sis, however she dealt with it, it was how she felt comfortable to deal with it. I'm not going to downplay her for how she decided to move in that situation, because I know how it feels to be intimidated to be the only in that environment. So I can't even say. Now, I would think, listen, I ain't gonna lie, I would have turned it on the slide though. That's just me. But I'm not going to judge her for how she chose to move. Nonetheless, she gets hired with this company. She works with this company for all of about, I don't know, maybe 6 months. I'm just going to give or take that. And throughout this 6 months, they basically antagonize her and give her a hard way to go every which way. In her story, it's a 4-part video that she posts to her social media account, and I will try to tag her name down in the bottom if you all want to go take a look at it. But she posted a 4-part video on her TikTok where she details how they basically torment her for this whole entire 6 months that she's there. She goes from talking about, how they micromanage her. She talks a lot about how they basically use, I'm going to say microaggressions. I'm going to say, they were basically, using terms, addressing her as yo and all these different things. They basically made her do more than the average person. She goes as far as to talk about how they were saying certain things to her face and getting her face and trying to intimidate her. She also goes as far as to talk about work trips where they, were to accommodate her with, somewhere to stay while she was out of town. And they booked her the most grungiest, pretty much roach motel that they could find, and basically just threw her in there. And she says that she checks with other people who work for the company that she was cool with, but just in other departments. And they said, girl, you need to get up out of there real quick. And so the reason why I want to talk about this story, because it really put a lot on my heart. Number one, I'm going to start with saying that as a filmmaker right now, I am working on a project, which will be on YouTube very soon. So please make sure that y'all support that when y'all see it. But it basically talks to exactly what this young woman was going through. I'm also a Black woman who knows what it feels like to be the only in a corporate setting. And I also know what it feels like to be tormented and taunted and just, discriminated against in so many different ways. And so when she was going through her stories, I'm like, yo, I can really identify with what sis was talking about. Like, this is something that's on my heart. And this is this project that I'm working on is a passion project. And when you see it, it is called The Only. This film is called The Only because it's more common that Black people be the only in white settings than it is for white people to be the only in Black settings. And so that's a reality that a lot of us face each day. And I kind of want to bring the attention to some of the things that I personally have experienced in that environment. So when you see that, please support on YouTube. But that's why this hit so far home for me, because, it's something that I'm passionate about. It's something that I personally have experienced, and so she goes on, to just talk about her experience, and eventually it gets to a point where they fire her wrongfully, but not before she gets so overwhelmed to the point where she takes a mental health hiatus away from the job. And she also details just being emotional every day, going in the bathroom and crying and calling her mom and things of that nature. And that's the reality. Like, that's the reality of being in those settings where you don't feel like you have anyone to have your back. So it's something that she really, that really affected her. So like I said, they wrongfully terminated her, basically telling her that her performance wasn't there or something like that. And whole time when you listen to this story, she details how much they basically made her be accountable for her work. So do I doubt? Now, mind you this, she is in the process of suing them. Now, mind you this, they have the audacity to want to be counter-suing her. Now, the reason why they want to counter-sue her is basically they're now trying to say, oh, our leadership team is 50% Black, which is crazy. So they actually, this is all still unfolding to this day. It's still going on. So then they go to the their Instagram page, right? And they post meet the leadership team. Evan New York has continued to evolve to represent the diversity of its customers. Our executive team is 50% Black, demonstrating our strides toward equity, inclusion, and belonging. We are diversifying our organization from the top down and placing leaders in positions where they can create, impact, and foster professional environments that serve all employees. Now, y'all might be saying, oh, well, they're being proactive and whatever. But let me tell you this, as a person who has worked in a corporate environment, right? Okay, so I worked in a corporate environment through the time that everything was going on with George Floyd. And we all know that once, everything was going on with George Floyd, a lot of companies took a stance to say, hey, you know what? We're going to show that we're diverse. We're going to show that we stand with y'all. And so a lot of these companies started DEI, Lord help me, diversity, equity, and inclusion panels and groups to help bring more diversity to the company. Now, from my experience personally, when they say diversity, what I saw personally was diversity by way of non-binary, sexual, LGBTQ type titles. That was where I felt like there was so much more inclusion. But I feel as though in the stride, we're always the face of the movement, but we never actually directly benefit from the movement. So whereas Evan might be saying, hey, we are working from the top down to include, people of diversity in our boards or whatever the case may be. Okay, yes, it's okay for you to put them there. But once you put them there, are you going to empower them? Are you going to empower them to do the job that you asked them to do? And from my experience, in those times where they put those people there, it's more so a face. It's more so a gimmick to say, hey, oh, we've done this, but there's no real work being done. Now, the problem that I have with this whole situation is not only just the situation as a whole, but this young lady also, like I said, she posted it on TikTok, and it kills me that as Black people, we can never stick together on anything. On anything. Yes, she had a lot of support of people saying, hey, I experienced this in my work. Or she also had a lot of people saying, hey, I experienced this directly with that company. So there are people that are supporting her. But it's so crazy to me that anytime that something like this happens where the Black woman needs the Black man to show up and have her back, the Black man also ultimately always comes to the forefront and starts shucking and jiving. Start shucking and jiving. There's a man on TikTok that basically came on the social platform to say, you're making it worse for us. You're making it worse for us. Sir, if you want to sit at that little rinky dink table, that's fine. But don't be mad at me because I'm trying to build the table, build a better table, and not just accept the scraps that we're getting at their table, okay? This man goes on to downplay her, discredit her. I mean, he didn't, disrespect her and call her any names or anything like that. He did it in a very tasteful way, but it just behooved me that he felt so comfortable to come and attack this Black woman. Why? According to this woman that, is experiencing this, he had stake in the company. And so due to her bringing this attention to the situation, he might have been in a situation or a stance where he could have lost money. And so he comes to the forefront to basically downplay her. I don't respect it. I feel as though he should have took that opportunity to support her. I think that that's the main reason why as a Black people, we will never move forward is because there's always somebody there saying let's play nice. Let's not push the envelope too much. In history, if nobody pushed the envelope, we would never have real change. And so it really bothers me that there are people that are so complacent with accepting what's given to us and not challenging the narrative to be better. And it really bothers me that people are so complacent with allowing our fellow brothers and sisters to go through things. Why? Because it doesn't affect us. But I want to let you all know that no matter whether it affects you directly, it affects all of us indirectly. If we don't stand for something, we fall for anything. And I feel like we're in that state now where everybody's out for self. Nobody cares about the greater good. Nobody cares for the movement. And everybody's just trying to get ahead. And we will never get ahead if it's only one of us fighting our way to the top. The only way we will get ahead is if we band together and really stand beside each other and push the initiative forward. Now, this also touched a sore spot for me because we got to think about this. Let's think about this on a very, very large scale. Listen, I'm getting deep with y'all today. Because I'm very passionate about my people. And I'm very passionate about making this a better place for everybody. Like, if we're going to say diversity, equity, inclusion, I mean, let's talk for real. Let's talk for real. Let's not for play and sugarcoat it and do it for social media. Let's do it for real because I'm getting frustrated. Because I feel as a people, we take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. Some of us charge forward, but it's always that one rotten apple that drags us down. And so the reason why we need to look at this from a broad perspective. Let's think about this, right? Okay. As a black people, we know that our black dollar is very, very, very strong. Okay, we know that. Now, whether you knew that before I just said it or not, that's up to you. But if you didn't know that prior to me saying it, you know it now. As a black people, they don't want you to know how valuable your dollar is. Okay, so let's think about the beauty supply industry as a whole. Right, go to a beauty supply store. Chances are, who is it owned by? And I know in the past I've said our Asiatic brethren, but our Asiatic brethren, they really do be messing. They be playing in our faces sometimes. Let's be real. But go back to what I just said. Half of the, or more than half, or majority, I'm going to say 90%. I don't have sound facts on that, but I'm going to say 90% of beauty supply stores are owned by Koreans, okay? They're owned by someone of Asiatic descent. Now, where are those locations typically located? In black communities. So they already sized it up and said, you know what? It's a market for this. We put this store here. They want it, supply, demand. We got it. And they have cornered the market on it. Okay. So bad to the point, okay, over the past, I would say maybe 3-4 years or so, following the events that happened with George Floyd, we know that there was a boost of black entrepreneurship. So that to me was a time where there were also a lot of black business owners looking to kind of get into that market and own a beauty supply store because for us, by us, okay? Boo boo. For us, by us. So there was a lot of people making power moves and say, you know what? Let's do it for the culture, right? Okay, that's fine and dandy. And I recall in my personal area in central Pennsylvania, I recall, there being a store that opened up in York. Not sure if it's still open. I know that there was a black owned store right around the corner from my house here in Harrisburg. I don't believe that it's still open. Now, the reason being, and I know the hurdles that they face. Let's think about this. Okay, Koreans are able to open these stores because they have distributors, right? They have these wholesalers that are basically able to supply them with something at a very low cost, and they mark it up, and then they make a huge profit off of us in turn. Now, because the market is cornered by these Korean distributors, it makes it hard for black people such as ourselves to be able to get into the market because they specifically and blatantly discriminate against us and don't want to give us that same access. So at that point where you now have black business owners who are trying to open these beauty supplies, now you walk into a store and all the prices of the products are extra expensive because why? They had to buy it at a high markup. And I experienced this firsthand. But this is where I say black people, we got to do better and not be so selfish at sometimes. We got to take a stance and really understand how small movements can push the buck forward. I remember going into this black owned store, and of course, all right, for instance, what is it? The Eco Styler gel. On average, Eco Styler gel, I don't know, for the smaller one, medium sized one or whatever, costs about $5, right? But I go into this black owned store and now it's $8. Do I want to pay the extra $3? I really don't want to. However, in the grand scheme of things, because I know how much it means to my people and their livelihood and the success of our businesses, I'm going to go ahead and pay it. Why? Because one day, if we continue to pay this price, one day it will be affordable to us. One day we won't have to go to them for everything. One day they will be forced to respect us. That's one problem. Number two, the second problem that I have, we've seen this, okay? Like I said, most of these hair beauty supply stores are in the hood and black areas, okay? Think about how you've been treated when you go into one of those stores. We have seen several cases where our people are going into these stores and being blatantly disrespected, treated like a thief, treated like a criminal, but we're the ones that's padding their pockets and allowing them to keep their lights on and send money back home to their families. But yet they treat us like the scum of the earth. They've already had a preconceived notion of who we are. They don't mind taking our dollar though, but they're going to basically let you know that you ain't in the process, okay? And so that bothers me. There has been several cases. I know that I saw maybe about a year or two ago, something like that, and I was very proud to see it. Nation of Islam, okay? I'm all for Nation of Islam. I would be all for the Black Panthers if they decided to bring them back, to be honest, because we need that type of policing in our communities. We had a group of men that stepped up. It was a black woman who was wrongfully done in a beauty supply store, and we had these black men step up and demand that this store respect our people. Because I don't understand. Y'all want to downplay us and disrespect us and degrade us until it's time to get our dollar. Our dollar is worth it, but we're not. And it bothers me. It bothers me to no end. I just feel like, we gotta force them to respect us. There's several people who have said, this don't have nothing to do with me. I'm gonna keep buying the product. And I know we do feel like, okay, there's so much against us. There's so many companies that don't like us. We gotta boycott everything. I get it. It's a long game, but we gotta start somewhere. We gotta start somewhere, because if we never start, we will never get further down the line. Now, before I wrap up this whole topic, and I told you I was very passionate about this, I did a lot of digging. Now, we gotta when we really talk about this situation, because this is a problem in our communities, we gotta bring up a young lady's name by the name of Natasha Harlins. Natasha Harlins, for those who don't know, did I say Natasha? Latasha, sorry. Latasha Harlins was a 15-year-old girl who was residing in California in 1992. This young lady was unalived by Soon Jadu, a 49-year-old Korean American convenience store owner. And this was shortly after the Rodney King brutality in Los Angeles that caused the riots and things of that nature. But this young girl was unalived. The way the story goes is she was in the store. They got into an argument apparently about some juice or something like that. The girl apparently on the video has the money in her hand ready to pay for it or whatever the case may be. And this Korean American store owner basically decided that she was a thief in his own mind, or her own mind. It's not really clear what the sex was. But basically decided that this person was a bad person based off of prejudgment, prejudice, racism, whatever the case may be. They get into the argument. The store owner grabs her. She punches them and starts to walk away from the situation. And basically, as she's walking away, this store owner took it upon themselves to shoot this young lady point blank in the back of her head. Now, this person did end up going to court. This person did end up getting charged with voluntary manslaughter, But the kicker is this. This is where the slap in the face is. The judge basically said, no, we know you were convicted, but we're not going to give you no jail time. We're going to give you community service and a slap on the wrist. And it's just so crazy to me, because it's like, they come to our neighborhoods. They are eating off of our backs solely, but yet they treat us like crap. And I'm not going to speak in a generalized way too much, because I have experienced the positives. I have experienced Korean owners who are patched in with the community and don't look at us a certain way. But we really got to think about this stigma. Everybody heard this before. Hurry up and buy. Hurry up and buy. Okay, they look at us as criminals, and that just is what it is. And so I really wanted to talk about that situation, because it really shows you, like, we have to do something. We have to do something. We have to stand for something, or else we're going to fall for everything else after this point. Like, I really encourage my people. Like, this is why I do this for us. I do this for us. We have to educate one another. We have to be willing to sacrifice at times. I know it's hard. I know we want that, 32-inch bust down middle part Peruvian. I know we want that. I want that. But sometimes we might gotta sacrifice. Listen, what our ancestors say, happy being nappy. Sometimes we gotta take a stance, okay? Sometimes we might gotta pay a little bit more for it. Lord knows we pay for everything else. Our black dollar is so powerful. So please, the next time that you see a black hair store, support them. Don't look at it and say, oh my God, the price is so expensive, da da da. Think about what hurdles that business had to go through in the first place to be able to open its doors, okay? This is a marathon that we're running. It's not a fast race, but little pieces and little movements forward will help us accomplish something bigger. So I said all that to say, support each other. There's many experiences where we're the only people in certain environments. And you don't know what race that some of us are running to help the greater good. So be the greater good next time. Moving on. Spill the tea. I hate that I have to spill the tea on another tragic situation at the hands of police brutality. I know you all have saw the situation happen and play out with the young woman named Sonia Massey earlier this week, where basically she was 36 years old. She called 911 to report a suspected prowler. Grayson, which is the officer that is now fired from his job and also charged, and another deputy responded just before 1 a.m. on July 6th, and Grayson shot her in the head within seconds of demanding that she drop a pot of water after she told him, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And we all saw the video. They released the video to the body cam, and from what we can see, she's sitting there calmly, and I guess they asked her for identification or whatever the case may be, and she's looking for it, and then she somewhere along the line realizes that she has this pot of water boiling on the stove. And so she asks, can she go to turn it off or whatever the case may be? She goes to do that, and she asks him a question. And he says, I'm getting far away from this boiling water. And she says, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And he just starts going off, okay? We clearly also get to see in the video where she puts the pot down, she puts her hands up, and she pleads, and he's still constantly yelling, put it down, put it down, put it down, and continues to execute her violently. The whole video pisses me off because, we're constantly in a situation where these people want to keep saying, oh, I felt threatened. And it's so conveniently that they always feel threatened about us. And we never have any weapons most of the time. But yet we see cases where it's them and they're clearly the aggressor, but they're able to go way further and get apprehended calmly, where our people don't get that luxury. And so this whole situation bothered me because it just bothered me because if he was so intimidated and so worried about this pot of water, you have training, sir. You have a brain, okay? So why didn't you think to say, you know what, as you're sitting here looking for your paperwork, and you could have left your colleague to stand there and guard her if you felt like you were whatever and you didn't want to take your eyes off of her, you could have said, you know what, I'll go ahead and take the water off the stove or turn the water off or whatever the case may be. It was that simple. He overreacted. It was overkill. And come to find out that this man has several instances where, people have complained about him. According to a article on NBC News, he was employed by 6 different agencies since 2020. So that's 6 agencies in 4 years. He pled twice guilty to driving under the influence of alcohol before he even worked in law enforcement. Then furthermore, there are also several accounts of other people accusing him of inappropriate behavior during their arrest, and accusing him of abusing his power and harassment. And so he basically has a history of this. And anytime that we see these situations unfold, it's not uncommon that they do have history of this. I posted a post a few days ago on social media, on Facebook, because I was upset because we got an election coming up in November. And I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody who to vote for. Vote for whoever you want to vote for, but just stand on it. I'm a very, stand on business type of person. Stand on this or stand on that, but it's no in the middle. I posted a status because I see a lot of people of our complexion, the kinfolk, who on here talking about how they plan to vote for Trump for whatever reason they're voting for him. But then they want to say her name, Sonya Massey. And I believe it's duplicitous. It's very duplicitous because you can't do both. You can't say her name and basically, go against the cop that wrongfully shot her, but then support a man, Trump, who is openly saying and fighting and says that he will fight for these same police officers to have immunity so they cannot get charged. Now, I know there's a large number of these police officers that do not get charged in general. I'm aware of that. I'm aware of where the law is skewed. However, there are some that do. But if Trump makes this a reality, basically, this will be, let me bang on my chest and puff my chest up and show you how strong I am. And I believe that more situations like this will happen. I believe, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it quite frankly. Some black people are stuck on stupid. They stuck on stupid. It don't make sense to me. I feel like we're in a constant state of contradiction. Like, if it don't benefit you, it don't benefit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people are so like out for themselves, but we got to think about the big picture. So this situation with Sonya Massey was very tragic. It was very tragic. Once again, we get to see a black unarmed person get gunned down with no remorse. With the claim that, oh, I was scared. How? Sway? How you scared if you got training? How you scared if you got a gun? Make it make sense. I understand, police work is very sporadic and, you really can't guess what will happen on any day. But the reality of the situation is you are trained to handle a lot of situations. But a person that doesn't, have any training at all, with their arms clearly up saying, I'm sorry, is supposed to be a threat to a person who has a gun. Doesn't make any sense. And I'm tired of talking about it. But I hope that this situation, even though this has nothing to do with the Eben, New York situation, I hope that you see that they're still related. Okay. We got to stick together. Now, on this note, it's time for a conspiracy talk. Conspiracy fingers. On the same note with Sonya Massey, there is a conspiracy rolling around. There's a conspiracy rolling around on TikTok currently. Now, the conspiracy is this. Basically, we've talked about, the power of the media. We've talked about, the Illuminati and things of that nature. And basically how the world is just a stage for, several things to happen. So we know that, things are happening. There's certain rituals taking place that we know nothing about, where they kind of, harvest our energy and things of that nature. Excuse me. And, I can't think of what it's called right now, but we also, know about the people who break down like different dates and birthdays and line the numbers up and all this different stuff. And that's how they prove, what's going on and all these different things. What they're saying on TikTok is the conspiracy is a lot of people are bringing attention to the uncanny resemblance between Sonya Massey, God rest her soul, and Sandra Bland, God rest her soul. We all know the story about Sandra Bland, how she got pulled over at a traffic stop. And basically, they, thought she was aggressive or whatever the case may be. And then it's this whole theory about, she wasn't even alive when she got to jail. And when they did the, the mugshot and things of that nature. We all know how that situation played out, and we all know how cringy that situation was. And for me as a black woman, that was a situation that made me realize it's not only our black men getting gunned down in the streets, they're killing our sisters too. And so it was that day that it became a reality for me that could be me, that could be my sister, that could be my mother, that could be any one of my aunts. And so that was the day that it became very real for me that this could happen to me. But nonetheless, we remember that situation with Sandra Bland that happened. And so a lot of people are calling out the uncanny resemblance between the two of these women, basically saying they look like they could be twins. And they do favor each other. I'm not going to say that they could be twins, but they favor. But the conspiracy is a lot of people are saying that this is ritualistic in nature because, we got two women who have very similar names. Sonia starting with an S and then with an A. We got Sandra starting with an S and then with an A. We got two women from the same area who lived in Illinois. We got two women who were born in the same month, who were killed in the same month. And it's a lot of similarities that people are pointing out on social media. Is it a conspiracy or not? I don't know. I'm going to say personally, from my perspective, it's probably not a conspiracy. But then again, I don't put past anything with, the dark forces that of this world. I'm not going to go for a reach and say, these women are in any way related. But what I will say is, history does repeat itself. And I'm sure this won't be the last time that we have to talk about a situation like this again. They don't respect us. They don't look at us as human. They don't look at us as their equals. We will be able to sit at their table, but we will never be able to occupy the positions that they have truthfully, because we will always be in a position where they feel like they're above us and they don't respect us to even listen to us. I'll say that lightly because, obviously we got a lot of people who are, that do rock with us and do stand on the front lines with us. And there are a lot of people, who are vouching for us. And it has been that way, ever since the civil rights movements back in the 70s and things of that nature. So we know that there are some people who are for us and on our side, but there's a lot of people who are not. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is a conspiracy. Because y'all not about to call me crazy today. I'm not about to listen. I'm just going to say, I'm just telling y'all what the internet is saying. It's a reach to me. It's definitely a reach because yes, they have similar features, but they don't look the same. I don't know. I just feel like people are reaching with this situation. And I feel like even a conspiracy such as this one kind of discredits and takes away from the bigger picture and the bigger message that's going on today when it comes to police brutality. So definitely, I want to send out my condolences to her family. I want to send out, prayers of protection for my black sisters, because I've said this once, I've said this twice, I said it in my film Vicious Cycles. Nobody is going to take care of the black woman like the black woman. So it's up to us, sisters, to take care of each other. Because if we keep looking for a savior, if we keep looking for a man to come aid us, if we keep looking for other people, it will never come. And so it's up to us to help one another. And so that's the message. That's the overall message for this episode. Because, like I said, I got a little bit of an attitude problem today because stuff like this really sits on my heart and irritates me because I'm for us. And I feel like it's so simple. It's so simple, but people don't make it make sense. People so out for self that they can't even take a step away from selfish desires to be able to say, you know what? If I didn't do this, this would be better for everybody. Or if I did this, this would be better for everybody. And we got to have more people who are willing to sacrifice for the movement. We got to start banding together because we singing the same sad song now. When are things going to change? We can't expect our help to come from outward. It has to come from within. And so the message is support black business, support black women, protect black women, protect I'm gonna say protect black women, because black men, y'all gotta step up. Instead of wanting to talk about us so much on social media about what we doing, what we not doing, us being hoes, dots, and this and that, and blah 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 blah. Y'all got the media. Yeah, the media got y'all so brainwashed that y'all think every black woman out here is like Sexy Red and Sukiana. When you got women like myself who have degrees up under their belts, women like myself who own some things, who do everything on their own, who are upstanding women who have integrity, there are women like me out here. So don't let the media keep telling y'all of who we are. Y'all need to judge us for yourselves. And don't be mad at nobody but yourself if you want to choose a baddie and let her run you through the mud, and then you want to judge all black women based off of that. How about you change the type you're going for, and maybe you'll get a different result. But we got a lot of surface level people, a lot of superficial people, a lot of people just looking for somebody that looks good on their arm, and they not looking for substance. And I'm sorry, sir, congratulations, you played yourself. It's time for you to wise up. It's time for you to realize it's a war that we're fighting out here, and you're going to be by yourself. It's crazy because at this point in life, black women are tired of waiting for black men. I went to a Juneteenth celebration, and you know how many black women I seen with white men? A lot. We're tired. We love y'all, black men. We love y'all. We really do. But y'all don't love us. So we trying to go where we love, where the grass is watered. Listen, I know it's an oxymoron because, in one breath I'm saying, hey, we got to do our own thing. But then I'm saying, hey, we turn it to the other man. But at the end of the day, we deserve to be loved, and we don't deserve to be ran through the mud. And we got to wait years and years and years until y'all decide that y'all want to, be with us and be with a good woman. Like, that's not fair to us. We deserve to be loved. And I think that women and black women are taking that power back into their own hands. But I done went off on a whole tangent that had nothing to do with, the conspiracy talk or anything like that. But like I said, I just got some things that I wanted to get off my chest. I said, because I really feel like we can be better. We can be better as a people. We just have to work for it. We have to be willing to sacrifice for it. We have to be willing to sacrifice as long as it takes in order to push the buck forward. That's my message for tonight, and I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the Sistah Talk podcast. I'm your host, Gold Chain Diva, and before you click off of this video, if you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and help me get to 200 subscribers. If you want to follow me on social media, you can follow me at goldchain__diva. And that's the episode for tonight, guys. So thanks for tuning in, and have a great night.